Hi everyone, it's Jeremy. The Xiaomi Pad 6 was recently released, a tablet with a very good value for under 400 euros, but if you are looking for an even cheaper tablet, here is the Redmi Pad SE, which is sold under 200 euros. Last year it was the Redmi Pad, which was released at around 279 euros, and here it is an even more affordable model, which will keep the strength of this previous tablet, but with some concession made, as we'll see. But first, let's start with the unboxing. Inside the box you'll find the tablet and its main characteristic, a USB to USB-C cable, a 10-watt charger, and finally a SIM card ejector tool and documentation. The Redmi Pad was supplied with a 22.5-watt charger. For the design, it is 7.36mm thick for a weight of 478 grams. It is a little heavier and thicker than the Redmi Pad, but it keeps this aluminum design for a more premium appearance. It is available in graphite grey, lavender purple and mint green. It looks like ice cream flavors. On the upper left corner in portrait format we found the photo module with its 8-megapixel sensor that takes up the design of the Redmi Note 12 series. On the left side there are two speakers, the power button and the Dolby Atmos mentioned. On the top the volume button, a microphone and a drawer for the SD card, which will allow you to expand the storage. On the right side, two speakers for the stereo, the USB-C port and even a jack port, which was not present on the previous tablet. It does not have a connector for a keyboard or a slot to recharge a stylus. You will have to use a Bluetooth keyboard if you need it, and you will have to use a simple stylus which will replace your finger but which will not allow you to draw, for example. There is no big change compared to the Redmi Pad on this point. It is a little bigger, but it gains a jack port and it still has a look that gives it the impression of costing more in the end. Regarding the screen, we even gain in size because the Redmi Pad is 1061 when the SE measures 11 inches. It is still an IPS LCD model, but now with a Full HD resolution, a density of 207 ppi, a brightness of 400 nits and a refresh rate of 90 Hz at maximum, which will oscillate between 30 and 90 Hz depending on the use. You can also manually force the tablet to 60 Hz if you wish to gain some battery life or even adjust the colors between vivid, saturated or standard. The paper reading mode is also still available, which can be very practical if you want to use the tablet as an e-reader and look a little closer to a real book. On the screen part we gain a little in size while losing in resolution, but the most important thing for me is that we keep this refresh rate of 90 Hz, which gives a feeling of additional fluidity in use. It's still an LCD screen on a rather entry-level product, but overall the colors are still beautiful and seems correct, at least for watching videos, playing small games or surfing on the internet. It is very suitable and the angle of view are good too. I also add that even more expensive tablets do not necessarily have this refresh rate of 90 Hz, so it is really good that it is kept by switching to this SE model, and it also has Green anti-UV certification for blue light and flicker. Above the screen we still find the selfie sensor in the upper part, once held in landscape format, practical for video calls. The edges around the screen are equal and seem equivalent to what we had on the standard model. For the other part of the spec we'll have some changes. The Redmi Pad is equipped with a MediaTek Helio G99 when the SE uses the Snapdragon 680 with 4, 6 or 8 GB of RAM depending on the country, and with 128 GB of storage in all three configurations. It also has Bluetooth 5, Wi-Fi 5 and it comes with Android 13 and MIUI 14. Here this is different because the SE has a less powerful processor, but on the other hand it has 128 GB of storage directly when the basic version of the Redmi Pad had 64 GB. So if we compare this space, the price difference is even more important because the Redmi Pad with 4 and 128 GB was launched at a higher price, which is the basic version on the SE. So the J99 was already not necessarily very fast. Here it has an even older and less powerful processor. Obviously they had to make some choices somewhere to lower the price. When watching YouTube or Netflix it's working very well. For the games you will have to stay on small games that are not very demanding and avoid titles that are a little beefier to avoid slowdowns, and you can also have slowdowns from time to time in navigation depending on what you are doing, or the application takes more time to open than with a more expensive tablet, of course. Well, it's not to the point where it becomes unusable either, but it must be taken into account. For the benchmark, I'll show you the result that I got on Antutu, PCMark, Geekbench and 3DMark, and in my case I have the 4 and 128 GB version. Compared to the Redmi Pad, the results are lower. It will be the same principle for games. On PUBG you can put the parameter at best on balance and medium, while on the Redmi Pad you can go up to HD and high, for example. If you lower the settings you can still play without slowdown. For DRM, it has L1 for wideband, so it can display HD on the different streaming platforms such as Netflix or Disney+. For the audio, as seen on the design, it has 4 speakers, 2 on each side when you hold it in landscape format, so it means that at worst, in landscape format, you won't block them all. It supports Dolby Atmos and high-res audio. The quality is good compared to the price range of the tablet, and the sound is quite loud. I'll give you an example right away, and it has, as said before, the jack port for those who prefer wired. Regarding the battery life, the tablet has an 8000 mAh battery and a 10-watt charger. It's 18 watt on the classic Redmi Pad. I used the PCMark application to simulate a typical use and reduce the battery from 100% to 20%, and I got a duration of 18 hours and 44 minutes. It's close to what I had on the Redmi Pad, where I had 19 hours and 50 minutes with the same test. So it's a good point. But on another hand, for recharging on the Redmi Pad, it took a little over 2 hours for a full charge. And here with 8 watt less, it took me 2 hours and 10 minutes to do 18 to 100%. So this is much longer and you have to remember to charge it in advance. For the photo part, it has an 8 megapixel main sensor and a 5 megapixel selfie sensor. It has two 8 megapixel sensors on the Redmi Pad. On a tablet, you don't expect to take good photos, and even less so in this price range. It will be enough to take photos of documents, to remember something, and for video you can film up to Full HD 30 fps for call, for example. For the price, as said before, we have several versions, and you have to check with your local Xiaomi store for the final price, but in general the price should be 199 euros for the first 4GB version, from 229 euros for the 6th version, and finally 249 for the 8GB RAM version. I will leave the links in the description as soon as they are available, and you will have to check if there are some early bird prices. Finally, the tablet is even cheaper than the Redmi Pad. It does not really replace it, but rather completes the offering. It keeps the strong points, a good screen with 90Hz, a nice design, good autonomy. It even gains on certain points with a slightly larger screen size, a jack port, but on the other hand, it will lose on performance and charging. It does not prevent it from being used for watching videos, reading information and surfing social networks, but games and more demanding tasks may not be its strong suit. If we just look at the launch prices and the prices on the Xiaomi site, at least in France, that brings you a tablet 70 euros cheaper for an equivalent version, so it's quite a lot for this price range. But it's true that it would have been more interesting if it had been released earlier, because the Redmi Pad was released almost a year ago now and it is also often found on promotion in this price range. But if it has an interesting launch offer and you have a limited budget, that could be a good chance. I hope that you liked this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment and I'll see you in the next one.